Hello, hello, beautiful souls. I hope I'm live because I had some technical difficulties coming on here. Oh, great, I am. Hi, Natasha. How are you? So, thank you everyone for joining Creators Inspire series for today. We have a very lovely author. This is not her first time on the show. She's been here. Her name is Yasmin Brown, and she's a women's empowerment author, entrepreneur of Yuri Elements, and also I would say an activist for, women's rights, especially for women who've been through domestic violence and also sexual abuse. Yasmin's book, the Deliverance series, features different books that talk about different ways that you can combat domestic violence, and also offers insight about the different resources that's available for women. So before Yasmin joins, I would just like for everyone to, just to say thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. I'm grateful for the feedback that I've received. I'm grateful for the guests that have appeared on the show. It's just been, I can't believe it's episode 7 already. Episode 7, and I felt like this just started a couple of weeks ago, but it's becoming something else more than I imagined. I just love to collaborate. I love to hear about other people's success, and I love when people are also succeeding. So if you feel like you have something to share on the Creators Inspire series, please reach out to me at Terry K. Shaw 33 at gmail.com. I'm going to drop my email address in the comment section so that you may be able to reach out to me. Thank you so much for everyone who's joining in. So let's just welcome Yasmin. She's on, and we're going to tune in right now. Hi, Yasmin.
Hello,
How are you?
fine and you?
I'm doing well. So thank you so much for coming back.
You're welcome.
So Yasmin will be talking about her book. Um, well, she has many books. I'm not just gonna her book. She has many books from the Deliverance series, which she has behind her right now, and also she has a new children's book out. So Yasmin, thank you everyone for joining in. I see Renee here from IABX. Hi, Renee.
Hello.
So, thank you everyone for joining in. Please, Yasmin, introduce everyone for those who are just new to the program. You've already come on our show before, but please, for everyone who's new, please reintroduce yourself. You know what it is that you do, and you can talk a little bit about your books. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Brown. I am an author of various books. I categorize them as an overcoming bundle. Um, the three books behind me are my first three books, and they speak about domestic violence and sexual assault and overcoming um, those trauma, traumatic events.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually am the owner of Yari Elements, which is a woman empowerment and woman self expression um, organization, in addition to being an author. It's a way to help women discover their voice and understand that their feelings are valid, their emotions are valid, and it's okay if you're not okay, but there's someone out there that can help you through that feeling of maybe loneliness, depression, lack of self worth, and
Mm-hmm.
can help you rise to the occasion to get you in a more better mind space.
Well, wow. Yuri Elements. I don't think we talked about much about Yuri Elements in the last segment. I am very curious, and I'm sure the viewers are also curious to hear more about Yuri Elements, and how does how does this organization help empower women, especially for those who have been caught up in experiences of domestic violence and also sexual abuse. If you could share a little bit more about the organization and how we can get more information about the organization.
To get more information, you can actually go on yarielements.com. It's YIRYELEMENTS.
Mm-hmm.
And what the organization do is I actually use various vehicles of ways to self-express. Whether it's, you probably can't see it, but it's my T-shirt. It says "Face it, speak it, heal from it."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that actually is a method that I use to overcome the trauma that I've gone through. And it's a way, it doesn't necessarily have to be domestic violence or sexual assault, but it's a method that can be used to overcome trauma to be able to move on in your life. Also, it is another way besides t-shirts. I have books as well that speak of different ways to overcoming. And another one of my books is, it's called I Just Want to Be Normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I Just Want to Be Normal is a way that my daughter shares her story about overcoming her rare kidney disease. And right now she's in remission. So it was her battle of her journey with her kidney disease and myself being the caregiver of the different things that I went through at the time. And then lastly, my newly released children's book is
Wow.
also a form of overcoming, whether it's you're the new student in the school and you feel that pressure and that nervousness and you don't know like quite how to make friends, but you have this one friend that you're holding on to, that you guys went to the same school together, so you're holding on to this because this is your only friend in this new school.
Yeah.
Or the fact of overcoming peer pressure and not getting pressured into situations that you shouldn't really be in, and just understand that it's okay to say no, I'm not following along with you guys, or no, I'm not doing what you guys are doing, I'm going to go my own way. So those are some of the books. And
Mm-hmm.
also there's another page on my website where you can actually book me. I do public speaking. In addition to, I am going to start my own women's workshop that is also available. Also, in a coaching session, which is based and surrounded on Face It, Speak It, Heal From It, to take you through the steps of the acknowledgement and validation and so
Mm-hmm.
on and so forth.
Wow, a Jane of all trades. You have a lot going on. I love that. You sound like exactly like how what I'd be doing. So many different, hands in so many different pots. As long as it's connected to your purpose and doing what
Right,
it is that drives your soul, that's just so important.
right.
Speaking about your children's book, can you remind all the viewers what the name of your children's book is, and when is it already released, or
It's
is
already
it's already released?
released in ebook, and it's on Amazon. The paperback's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Higher Ground Books and Media.
Mhm.
And it's called The Iced Tea of Friendship.
Iced tea of friendship. Very nice.
I
And
love iced tea.
I think it's like a perfect time right now because it's everyone who has kids, or are in, you don't even have to have kids if you're a guardian of a child who's going
Right,
back to school. Going back to school is quite different now in the pandemic era that we're living in.
right,
And so, you talk about being in a new school. Now we are in a new school environment
right.
virtually, and talking about peer pressure. How do you feel that your book will kind of translate to this new virtual reality that we're living in? Because peer pressure do happen in many forms, not just, fits in person, but it can also happen when, online, especially if you're in groups, meeting groups online. So is there anything you can share from your book that may be able to add to this current culture of virtual learning and virtual interaction with kids now going back to school?
In the virtual world, and kids going back to school, I think now it's a pressure of the classroom versus being online, and your home was a secret before,
Mm-hmm.
everything that was going on in your home was a secret, but now you're letting your whole classroom
Mm-hmm.
in your house.
Exactly.
So everything that's going on in your house, now your classroom gets to see, and your teacher and everyone. So that puts a sense of pressure on kids
Yes.
that, whatever situation may be going on, whether good or bad, these kids now know you, and you have to think of, sometimes the teachers, some of the classrooms may not be muted, and sometimes kids do outbursts, and some of the kids may say hurtful things to the other kids. So I think that's one way that peer pressure can get the best of you in a virtual world,
Mm-hmm.
um, is the newness of letting people into your home,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids having to deal with the pressure from that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even for, I work from home. So even if it's just being an adult and you're letting your coworkers see in the background what it is that you're doing. A lot of the times I don't even share my video at work because I don't want anybody to see what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm just coming out of my pajamas and I don't want people to judge me like that. So now with kids going back to school, and now they're actually, some of the kids, they never had to have some of their best friends or the kids that they used to play on the playground with. They are actually seen into their home. And yes, there is a lot of judgment about the way your home is, and then how many people you have in your home, and who
Right,
is in your household. So there's a new level of pressure there to kind of keep up with trying to be part of the whole normal, what it means to be normal, what it means to be
right,
social. And it's so important, for those of your parents out there, it's important that your kids are comfortable with sharing themselves online. I don't know how it is because I don't have kids personally. I don't know if they require that a kid show their video
mm-hmm.
when they're doing classes. Sure they do. So these are some of the things you can think about. You create a space for them where they feel comfortable, where this is just their space, and this is where everyone sees, where they don't see the whole kitchen, the whole bathroom, everything. I've seen videos where kitchen and the bathroom, and kids can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but like, oh, my friend Jonathan is looking into my bathroom, and the kids, they see everything,
Right,
and they're quite honest and blunt when what
right,
they see. So that can actually put a pressure on what a child says and what a child do, and it can make them feel uncomfortable. So I'm looking in the comments, and everyone is saying yes, that's so true. Nastasia said my
yes.
kids are too comfortable. I have to stop them from giving the entire class a tour of my house.
That is so true.
That's
Depending on
funny.
the age, kids will just run with it because it's new. It's a new thing, and they want to show off. Oh, we got this and we got that, and they just want to show
Oh,
their
wow.
experience that they are excited about, so they want other kids to be just as excited.
So for those of you who are joining in, we're talking about Yasmin's new children's book. Repeat it again, Tea Time with Friendships. Did I say that correctly?
The iced tea of friendship.
Ice tea time. Tea time with friendships is a great idea. Ice tea with friendships. I like that one. But the iced tea, I'll drop it in the comments as well. Iced tea with friendship, which is also
Yeah.
available on Amazon. And is it also available on your website, Yasmin?
Actually, I have to. I'm trying to be the Jane of all trades and a master of none, so I haven't uploaded it to my website yet, but I'm
Okay.
working on it.
That's perfectly fine. I get that. I completely understand. Now, if you could also switching from a children's book to more, the topic today we're talking about is overcoming trials, and I feel your Deliverance series talks a lot about that. Okay, iced tea off Frenches. My apologies.
That's
Ooh,
okay.
I'm here with Frenches. So, iced tea off friendship, everyone, not with friendship. Uh, so the Deliverance series, you know, she talks about, the silent destruction. And Yasmin, I would like for you to please go ahead and talk more about your books. You know better because you're the one who wrote it. And talk about overcoming trials and how you were able to, you know, the experiences that you've been through and how you took them from a different perspective and teach others using the different resources that you were able to obtain while and thereafter going through whatever experiences that you've been through. So please share. I would love for you to share, an excerpt from your book, something that you feel like a lot of the people need to hear today, who actually tuned in.
So I'm going to actually read an excerpt from my book,
Yeah.
just a little part of my book to go back to the first video where we talked about divine intervention.
Yes, I remember
So
that.
I'm going to actually read an excerpt
Yes.
based on that, and then I'll explain why I chose this part of the book.
Okay.
On her way to work one morning, she decided to stop for breakfast at a fast food restaurant. While in line, a man approached her and started prophesying over her life to the point Taquasia started to cry. He ended his speech saying, I will not remember you or this conversation. Taquasia left the establishment without ordering her food. Several weeks later, she was at work and decided to run across the street to the bank. During her lunch break, there she noticed the security guard was the man from the restaurant. She struck up a conversation with him in hopes of him remembering who she was. However, he merely gave her a "Do I know you" look. She was puzzled by his confusion and left the bank, wondering why he did not know who she was. Returning to work, she let the experience go, out of sight, out of mind. So, the reason why I chose that part of the Deliverance book is because oftentimes when we are going through situations that deal with trauma, especially when you're in a traumatic relationship, there are people that come into your life for a season or a temporary period of time. And those people will either speak into your situation, whether negative or positive. But if the people are sent to help you get out of that situation, it's going to be a positive experience. And you're going to actually feel the words of the people that are prophesying positive energy into your life about your situation. And it can
Mhm.
be a stranger, it can be someone you know. They can just be pouring into you that your situation is unhealthy and that you need to seek help or leave or remove yourself from that type of situation,
Yeah.
whether it's self-destruction and you are in need of medical help by a mental health professional, or it's someone else that is destroying you, or physically, mentally, emotionally. There is some form of help that is needed in the situation. And sometimes there are people that will speak into the situation because you are in the situation, but you are not aware of the situation. So that is why I chose that segment of the book, because we have to be open minded that everyone, especially because you become closed minded when it's domestic violence and sexual assault about other people pouring into your relationship. Oh, you don't know, you don't know.
Mhm.
But they were sent to you to tell you that you
Mhm.
shouldn't be in that situation. You should seek help where from wherever you need to get help from.
Mhm. Wow, that really spoke to me. And I feel like thank you for sharing that, and that really resonated to my own past experiences, and I'm sure for many of you who are tuning in, it doesn't have to be related to domestic violence or sexual assault, but to anything in your life where you caught yourself in a certain experience and you've gotten the signs that it's not good for you, it's toxic,
Hmm.
right?
Right,
And sometimes people do show up to show us that, this toxicity is not working for us anymore and it's time for us to let it go. And but we hold on to it for some reason.
right,
Why does and it I feel yes, everyone does have a choice in what they do, and some people, see the choices and are able to act on what they need to do in order to get out of the situation, but then I feel there's an element of some people who don't even understand that they do have choices
right,
because not like you said, some people are not aware that they are in a situation unless you get divine intervention that shows you,
right,
hey, it's gonna trigger you, it's gonna make you realize that what you're in right now is just not working and it's time for you to do something to get out of it. And when you do realize it, you do feel a little bit helpless, but then
hmm,
I feel like that happens not for, to make anyone feel helpless, but it's to show you the light out of that darkness
right,
that you've been living in for so long, especially if you've been in any situation where you've been taken advantage by anyone and you feel you're being used or abused. It's not it's not working for you anymore and you need to get out of that. And will it be easy? Absolutely not.
right,
Absolutely not. It will not be easy. It's gonna take a level of strength and encouragement and a level of, taking back your power and realizing that once you make that first step, the universe, God, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, because many people have different names, right? And
right,
whatever you want to call it, is gonna push you. Candy Brown Smith just said it's
right.
like a push. It's gonna push you out of that situation.
It's a
So it's like that,
rebirth.
yeah, it is that divine intervention, and yeah, nothing good comes easy, and that is
Right,
true. So you do have to kind of fight those battles and realize that when you're in a situation it's no longer working for you, there chaos is gonna show up, divine intervention is gonna show up. It's saying it's time.
hmm,
It doesn't serve you any longer. It's time for you to let it go.
right.
Let it. And as humans, it's hard to let go, right? We just
It
need a bit
is.
of control. We need a bit of control to hold on to things. And so thank you for sharing that excerpt. Is there
You're
anything
welcome.
else from the book? I'd love to hear more. If there's any other section that you can share with other.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
So Yasmin's Deliverance series is available on Amazon, everyone. That's Yasmin Brown, Brown. So if you Google or even go to Amazon, if you have an Amazon account, look for Yasmin's book. I do have The Silent Destruction, and I'm yet to get the other books in the series. And also, Iced Tea of Friendships. I said it right now. It's also available. It's her new children's book. So, kids are going back to school, whether virtually or in person. I feel it from based on what Yasmin described. I haven't read it yet, but I'll be sure to get my copy. Please go out and support Yasmin and also get her book available on Amazon as well.
Okay, so there is a section of this book that I am going to read.
Okay.
And this section of the book has something to do with women in the toxic relationships, and they leave these relationships, but there's children involved,
Mm.
and they go back.
Ha. And
So,
please share. Yes.
so this excerpt, the next day he called her at 12 o'clock asking if he can come to see the baby. Thinking he may have Thinking he may have changed, she allowed him to come over while the baby was sleeping. TJ was able to sweet talk Taquasia into having sex with him. As she was lying there with him on top of her, she could not wait until he finished. The next morning, TJ waited until the baby woke up before he left. Feeling like she had walked on eggshells while he was around, be oh shoot, I can't even see. Feeling like she walked on eggshells while he was around. While hold on, I'm sorry. Feeling like
Okay,
she
take your
walked on.
time.
I can't even because I can't see really. Feeling like she walked on eggshells while he was around, while she was around him, started to become too much for her. Not feeling a spark between them, she and TJ sat down to talk about their relationship. They both realized the feelings were mutual and agreed to go their separate ways, but continued to co-parent. And that right there is she took him back, even though the relationship was toxic previously.
Mhm.
But she found enough courage to know that it wasn't right. That was one part of the first start of her overcoming is her acknowledging and realize that it was a bad relationship
Mhm.
and the relationship was bad, and even though she was scared of being with him and being around him, she knew that she needed to give her her feelings validation and a voice. So she got a certain comfort level that she talked to him about just calling it quits and just breaking it off and learning to co-parent and not become the bitter baby mom, but to co-parent because together we are toxic, apart we are not. And a lot of people, a lot of women or people, men and women, don't understand that it's okay to co-parent. If you're in a toxic situation, you don't want to bring a child up in a toxic situation because your misery and your anger rubs off on the child. So
Mhm.
that negative energy that is going on with the parents is being fed into this child, and that can be a whole nother situation when your child is being brought up in that atmosphere. That child can enter into a domestic violence relationship, or that child can be the person that abuses another person when they get older. I mean, somehow that negative energy feeds into that child and then becomes a communal problem within the community once that child gets older, whether it's repeat of the cycle or another type of violence that protrudes from that child. So I
Mhm.
just thought that that would be a good excerpt as well.
Thank you for sharing. And that's a very, very important topic about overcoming because, I feel this might hit a nerve with some people. And
Yes.
even if you even if you live with the person who you know is toxic, because I've seen cases in my own culture. I'm in Jamaican, and I've seen cases in my own culture sometimes where women stay in situations knowing that the person that they're with is toxic for them, but there might be some type of an attachment. It could be financial support or the fact that yes, they might be
Mm-hmm.
married, but this person has been treating them very bad over the years. And I've seen people stay together like
Right.
over a decade or even 2 decades, knowing that, it's not right for them, but they stay and they put up with it. And I used to ask why, but then again, I don't ask why anymore. I don't judge because some people don't understand what could be out there for them, or maybe they don't want to try to see what else is out there for them. And so yeah, they might stay together because of the kid, but then like you said, it's okay to co-parent. Some people don't even realize that they can do that without
Right.
actually have to get involved romantically with the other person. And it's something that happens so many time over, and like you said, the negative energy, no matter what you do or what you,
Right.
this person is going to trigger you negatively. You're gonna be like, oh gosh, yeah, I feel like I'm stuck with this person. But I've learned that, after doing a bit of my own research and my own reflection on why people trigger us sometimes. It's sometimes it has to do with that person's own negativity being projected at us. And other times it could be that there's still some healing that we need to do on our own
Right.
before we can actually move forward into another relationship with someone else. So until we see this and realize it, and we can realize it, but until we realize something and actualize on it, then nothing's gonna change. We're gonna keep repeating that same cycle with the same person. And
Right.
if that connection is with, because of a child, um, a child doesn't mean that your energy has to be tied with that person
Right.
forever. You
Right.
may have a child with someone else, and oh, you can't deal with them because you have to deal with them. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be sour all the time.
Right.
Your best self might come out when you're actually not with that person
Right.
versus, oh, I want to keep this tradition. Like, oh, in certain cultures they believe if you marry to somewhere, have a child with somewhere, you're supposed to be with that person. And clearly a lot of the problems stem from that, this belief system, these creeds that we hold on to, which is entirely not true. Because a child, that doesn't necessarily mean that if you stay in a toxic relationship, like you said about, the child can grow up and copy what they see. They may grow up and start abusing someone else. You may be doing them a favor just by co-parenting and not being in that
Right.
relationship. You are the example that your child sees the very first time. So thank you for sharing that. That was very powerful. It is very powerful, and just showing other people that we do have options. There are
Yes.
options, and until we realize it and actualize on it, I like, as I said, you could think whatever you want. You could have many ideas, but if you don't put action into it or apply it in your life, then it's just useless.
Right.
So thank you very much for sharing that. Wow. So, so Yasmin's book. I sometimes call you Jasmine because it's so close to Jasmine. But Yasmin's book is, the Deliverance series. Please go out and get a copy on Amazon.com. Is there anywhere else it's available?
Higher Ground Books and Media, and also my website. Yeah,
And your
Yari
website
Elements.
at
Yes.
Yuri Element. Could you drop your? I think I dropped it earlier, but
Yeah.
for those who are just joining in and didn't see the comments, if you could drop your website again. Yuri Elements. And this video will be available. So Yasmin went on to explain about what Yuri Elements is all about, the organization about women's empowerment and overcoming and finding ways to, redeem themselves. Not just women. I feel like it's everyone.
It,
It's not just for women, it's for everyone. Because men got problems too. So
right.
this is about the men.
Right. They have
Yeah.
problems just as well as women, and sometimes
Yeah.
there's aren't they're not acknowledged. Their pain is not acknowledged because they're men, and they they're supposed to be strong, but sometimes it's okay not being okay.
Yes, that's right. So much pressure on the men to be living up to the ideals of what a man should be in society.
Right.
um and I cannot speak for the man. I wish one day I had a guest. Most of the time the people who I do reach out to are women on the Creators Inspire series, but I love to hear viewpoint from the men and how the pressures of society of being a man, because it will give such a different point of view about overcoming and what it means to be a man in this current world that we're living in. So
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. Now, is there anything else that you would like to share? Any new and upcoming books? you just finished your children's book, Iced Tea of Friendship. Is there any other thing that's upcoming for you that you can share with the viewers?
I'm actually working on another book. There's a section, it's called The Plane Ride to Healing, a Traumatic Takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the last book of the Overcoming series. And it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be written more from a coaching perspective and sharing a different way of looking at trauma, not from a domestic violence standpoint or sexual standpoint, but just from an everyday life um, standpoint of being just your daily routine. From in the book, it talks about a car accident and how that's traumatic and how it affects you in your everyday life, or just seeing different things like plane accidents, just planes crashing and things like watching the news and repeat of the accident. That can trigger a traumatic experience for some people because they take on that connection, that emotional connection with those that were in the plane and their families, and the emotional roller coaster that sends you to. So that's what I'm working on now. And there's a section that I think I have to do a little bit more research on. So that'll be up and coming soon.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. That sounds amazing. Looking from trauma at a different standpoint. Thank you for everyone who's joining in right now. I do see some comments. I will definitely let me see what the comments are
Let's
saying.
see.
So, Dr. G, PhD says, yes, certainly you need the masculine energy to better understand duality and balance. That is
Yes.
very true.
Yes.
Very, very true. And, I've always had the thing of saying that masculine energy is not just has to be someone who's actually a male. It could be a female who has a masculine energy, or even a male with a feminine energies, because I think we both carry the aspect of the male and the feminine energy. Love to talk more about that topic because I'm very actually interested in that. And then it's he love it as most are living through trauma now, intergenerational trauma as well. Intergenerational trauma. That's very interesting because I think that when I hear that, I'm definitely hearing about like this type of
Mm,
ancestral trauma that we carry through that's passed down from our great grandmothers and our grandmothers, and we continue that same pattern, that same
right.
line. It's so interesting because I was talking to someone about this recently, about a lot of us are healing. We don't even realize it, but we are actually healing intergenerational trauma. Some of us are actually the way showers away from that.
Right.
You may have been your mom may have been in a situation that you end up in, and then also if you didn't heal it, then it passes down to your daughter, and if your daughter doesn't heal it, then it passes down to your daughter's daughter. And it just continues down the line. And I really do believe that because
Right.
I've seen it, I've experienced it firsthand. And it's just something that if we choose to, we can actually clear it. And how do we clear it? That's a topic for another day. But I love the fact that you're going to be writing a book about trauma, because we don't talk about trauma. And trauma, as you said, is not just about domestic violence or sexual assault. It could be any experience. We
Right.
could just be living with someone, and that's traumatic. Living with
Right.
someone, living with someone, and especially for someone who, this pandemic is traumatic in a sense for
Hmm.
some people. In this era that we're living in right now, trying to understand what's happening, like, why did some people leave, pass away, and some didn't? That's traumatic for some people to
Right.
handle. And we do need that type of support and coaching, and all of us need it. Even if you're a coach, or everyone needs to try to understand, like, what is going on and how can we accept and move on and be able to continue to live our life through this process. So
Right.
thank you for sharing that. All
You're
right, great.
welcome.
Thank you so much,
You're
Yasmin. It's a
welcome.
pleasure to have you. I can't wait to have you back again because I would love to hear more about this new book on trauma. It's something that definitely needs to be talked more about, and instead of being swept under the rug for so long,
Right.
because anything that we don't talk about kind of eats away at our hearts. We don't
Right.
forgive it and heal it. It takes a lot out of us, right?
It does.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much. Yasmin's information is in the description box, everyone. YuriElements.com. That's YIRYELEMENTS.com. And then her book is at Barnes and Noble. You said
Yes.
Barnes and Nobles and Higher Grounds Books and Media.com and Amazon as well. So thank you everyone for joining in. Does anyone have any questions before Yasmin leaves? Does anyone have any questions? There might be a delay, so they might not.
Okay.
Yeah. Nope. Okay. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you
All
for
right.
joining
Thank
in.
you.
Uh,
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh, and I also wanted to point out that Yasmin and I will be virtually at the Independent Authors Book Experience. This is the first experience was where I met Yasmin. So we're going for the second experience, which is, I believe, Renee is here. I
Yes.
think I did see her. I
I
don't know if
think
she's
I
still
did
here.
see her as
But
well.
yes, please join in the virtual retreat, the virtual book tour that will be happening on September 12th. Did I get the date?
Yes.
September
That's correct.
12th. Authors from so many different elements will be there, and I just can't wait to share more about my book, The Power of ABCs, and Yasmin to share more about her books as well.
Yes.
All about amazing authors. So thank you, everyone, and take
Yes.
care, Yasmin. See you
Thank
soon.
you. See ya.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So wow, powerful topic. Thank you, everyone. Overcoming trials. Please go and check out Yasmin's information is in the comments section. Please go and check out Yasmin's book, the Deliverance series, Iced Tea of Friendship, which is her new children's book. And as she talked about her new book on trauma, I can't wait to read it as well. So tune in next week. We'll have Jillian Sophia Jackson, one of the co-founders of Zencation Retreats, will be here talking about, the art of Tantra. I can't wait for that. Tantra. So join me next week, and I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Take care, y'all. Bye.